Hey everyone, it's Tim from Linessa Farms Specialty and Heirloom Livestock. Thanks for joining us again today. Today we are talking about 5 ways to increase your income when dealing with small farm livestock. Now some of these you may have thought of before and some of them you probably haven't. Stay tuned to find out more. Hey everyone, it's Tim from Linessa Farms, and today we're talking about the top 5 ways to save money and to make more profit when dealing with your small farm livestock. Now, out of these 5, the very first one that I want you to consider, and probably one of the most important, we're going to call this number 1 after setting up a limited liability corporation, which is something that we'll talk about in an entirely different video, is setting up your record keeping system. If you're not doing this, you need to start doing this. It doesn't cost you any money, and it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Now, I have a spreadsheet here that I've made out that talks about all the different itemized things that you'll want to consider with your farm. I'm not going to go through it step by step, but if you want a copy of it, all you have to do is email me, mention this video, and we will send you an outline that we're going to go over here today. But in a nutshell, keeping records. I want you to keep records of all your finances. That includes all the money that goes out and all the money that comes in. And I also want you to keep track of all the health records as far as your animals are concerned. And this will come in handy later on, even with some of the other tips that we're going to talk about later on in this video. Very, very important that you know basic things like when your animals were born, if you had any animal deaths and what caused them, and then generalized health information about all of your animals. Things like, how often do I have to worm this animal? Is this animal continually sick? If the animal has babies, what kind of babies do they have? Do they have twins? Do they have singles? Do I have problems with the babies? Is the mother not nursing correctly? Did I have to assist in delivery? All of these things play in later on when we get to the other tips in this video. This will help you keep track of where your money is going, and it will help you hone in on changes that you need to make on your small farm. Again, even if you're not in this for profit, we don't want you losing your rear end doing something that you should be enjoying, which is raising small farm livestock. You can do this correctly. You can do this to where if you're not making money, you're at least breaking even. So moving on to the next step. So the next step I want to talk with you about is locating local sale barns in your area. A sale barn is essentially an auction house where livestock are sold. Most people from the public can go to the sale barn, you drop off your animal, they will auction that animal off, and you'll simply get a check in the mail. Now they do take a small percentage of the proceeds that they get, but generally speaking, unless you're selling very, very specific breeding stock to a very specific buyer, you're going to make the most money hands down by selling your animals through the sale barn. And why is this? Well, you're bringing in lots and lots of buyers from different areas, and you're essentially selling your animals through an auction type environment. This helps to drive price up, and you're going to get true market price for your livestock. Now, there's other benefits of having the sale barn in mind as well that can help you immensely when it comes to selling your livestock. These are as follows. First of all, you can contact your sale barn at any time. You can follow up and see what going prices are, and it'll give you a good idea of what you should be asking for your livestock if you should choose to sell them off of your farm. You can also call your local auction house or your sale barn and say, hey, I've got these animals for sale. When do you think would be a good time to bring them in? Or I have these animals for sale. I don't really know what's selling right now. They'll tell you. They want you to be able to sell. They want you to make as much profit as possible because when you make profit, they make profit. So they will tell you. They'll say, you know, if you have lambs, bring them in at this weight and at this time. If you have goats, bring them in at this weight and at this time. And they will work with you in order to get the most that you can get out of your livestock. Okay, point number 3, feed. Now you may think that going to the big box store is the best way to get your feed, and if you are going to the big box stores like Tractor Supply, Rural King, or stores like that to get your feed, I can tell you without a doubt 100% you are paying way too much, especially in regards to grain. what you need to do. I want you to reach out to local farmers in your area. I want you to reach out to local cooperatives and grain mills. You can go to a co-op, you can go to a grain mill, you can go to a local farmer, and you can buy corn directly from them. Now, I'm using corn as an example, but you can also buy other types of grain. You can buy oats, you can buy corn fines, you can buy all kinds of things. Corn is sold based off of bushel. Generally speaking, general rule of thumb is if you're buying from the big box store, you're paying about twice as much yes, twice as much as you should be paying if you were purchasing directly off the farm from a co-op or from a grain elevator. So corn, 55 pounds roughly per bushel, can go from anywhere from $3 to $4 a bushel, and that varies depending on the season and the commodities market. But always reach out to these people. They will deal with small people just like you. You can go to a farm, a cooperative, or any other place, and you can bring plastic garbage cans. You can bring mini bulk containers that have had the tops cut off. You can get grain carts. You can do all kinds of things. Even in some cases, you may be able to actually have them deliver it to your house. Another great thing to do is look on Craigslist, look at local sales, local farm sales. See if you can find a 1-ton bin or a small 1-ton feeder. I have a huge bin outside of our barn that I'll show you here in just a minute. I paid $200 for it. I can have them come out and load it up. It's a fraction of the cost to buy it from the big box stores. I'll show you another thing with a mini bulk where you just cut the top off of it. Mini bulks are free. You can contact your local farmer and say, hey, I need a mini bulk. And a lot of times they have chemicals in them. When they use the chemicals, they're done. They have them sitting around. Cut the tops off, spray them out, clean them out really good, and then you've got a container. You simply put it on a trailer, take it to your local farmer or your local cooperative, and there you have it. You can fill it up. So fraction of the cost when it comes to feeding your animals. If your farm's like my farm, my number one cost is in feed. You always want to do as much as you can to save that money. Now, the same thing goes with establishing relationships with local farmers in regard to hay and in regard to straw. If you establish a relationship with these individuals, what you'll find is you'll get a set price and you'll always have the hay and straw available when you need it. So work with your local farmers, work with your local cooperatives, work with your local grain bins, and see what you can do. In the example of needing to have mixed feed, let's say you want to feed a 16% mix or something like that, that again you buy at the big box store. Look in your local area for feed mills. There are free feed mills all over the United States. Again, you can get bulk discounts. If you're going to buy it on a pallet, you're going to pay a fraction of the cost of what you could pay if you went to the big box stores. For example, Hunter Nutrition, if I buy a 16% complete mix specifically for lambs, it costs me less than it would be to buy a pallet of general 12% sweet feed at Tractor Supply. So that's a huge difference. I got 16% made specifically for my lambs, 12% made for all species, and it's cheaper to buy the specialized feed. Again, look online, do your homework, do some self-education, and find those local feed mills that are in your location. All right, rule number 4, learn to do your own veterinary work. Nothing sets you back as much as having to call the vet to come out to your farm to do work on your animals. Most of this stuff is available online through our channel and through other channels. You can learn. Yes, you can. I know some of you are shaking your head like, I can't give shots, I can't do this, I can't do that. You really can. You can learn, and you should learn how to do your own veterinary work. Doing your own veterinary work is part of the complete process. It's part of what makes farming fun. It's part of the challenge of small farming, hobby farming, getting to know your animals and learning how to take care of them. It's less stress on you, it's less stress on your pocketbook, and it's less stress on the animals. Now, There are, of course, going to be situations where the vet is going to have to come out to your house. I expect you to learn to do hoof trimming. I expect you to learn how to do general vaccinations. I expect you to learn how to do general cold sniffles, things like that, how to deliver a baby, how to tube a baby, how to bottle feed a baby. These are all things that you can do. Now, there are things that you're going to have to call the veterinarian out for. These are things like prolapses, cesarean sections, major traumas or wounds, unexplained deaths on the farm, things like this. But learn how to do your own veterinary work. You will save tons and tons of time and, most importantly, money. So I saved the best for last, and this is probably the most controversial part of what I'm going to talk to you about today when it comes to the 5 steps that you need to take to increase the profits on your small livestock farming operation, and that is culling. What does culling mean? Well, culling is a term that we use in the industry that means getting rid of livestock, either slaughtering them or selling them. You're getting them off of your farm, and this is probably one of the most difficult things to do as a hobby farmer. As someone that's spending a decent amount of time every day with these animals, you get to know them, you get to love them, and they're like your pets. And for me to tell you that you may have to get rid of them, that can be a bit of a challenge for you, and I appreciate that. Now, for those of you, especially those of you that are looking to make a profit, this is something that you absolutely have to do. Every year we cull, and we cull hard. And what does that mean? Well, this is reflecting back to all of those records that we have you keeping. And what you're going to find, regardless of how good an animal is supposed to be, the pedigree that they come from, and all of those other qualities, you're going to find that there are animals that are on your farm that are essentially a money pit. They are unthrifty. You can't keep them wormed. You're consistently having issues with them not being able to deliver babies on their own, or they don't want to have anything to do with their babies, and you end up having to bottle feed them. There's so many reasons why we would want to get rid of livestock. We can get into conformation issues with livestock. They may carry a genetic feature that we don't necessarily like. For instance, if we get ram lambs that have humongous front shoulders, we generally don't keep them. Humongous front shoulders equates into having issues with babies getting stuck and needing to get pulled. Other things like generalized build of the animals, demeanor, that is a huge issue on our farm. If we get animals that ram, kick, bite, anything like that, they're gone. So culling animals is extremely difficult, but this, believe it or not, amongst all the other things that we've talked about today, is probably the #1 factor that will help you to save money on your small farm operation. I know it's difficult, but you need to go through the books every spring, every fall, look at it, determine which animals are not working out for you, and you need to get rid of them. I want you to consider also that you need to do this in an ethical way. Do not sell animals that you know can't get pregnant to the local farmer down the road as breeding stock. Be extremely cautious. Be honest with people. This is, again, where the sale barn comes in handy. If you have an animal that needs to go, the sale barn is probably your best option. So, again, we covered 5 basic topics. All of those topics are broken down into a spreadsheet for you. If you'd like a copy of it, I will be more than happy to send it to you, and it will help you out immensely. In our coming up videos, the ones that are going to be coming out here soon, we're going to be talking about more detailed things like limited liability corporations, ways to shelter yourself from paying taxes on your small farm, and other ways to really boost that income as far as your small farm is concerned. Again, I'm Tim from Linessa Farms Specialty and Heirloom Livestock. Thanks for joining us again today, and we'll see you next time.